you familiar with the context of Quebec and employment for immigrants?
I lost the last
Me. I'm just curious, are you familiar with the context in Quebec as it relates to immigrant communities and employment?
Somewhat. I'm probably not as well aware as the rest of the country.
I can appreciate that, given where you're situated. Are you familiar with the headlines and broad strokes, would you say?
I think so.
Okay. Are you familiar that of numerous studies that have indicated that those who are Maghrebin or North African in origin have a very high unemployment rate as compared to the average immigrant and the average person in the population of Quebec?
I haven't seen numbers, but it doesn't surprise me to hear that, sadly. I'm sorry?
I'm assuming you're not familiar with that.
I haven't seen the numbers recently. Yeah.
The only reason why I mentioned this is because I wanted to pivot maybe to Monsieur Amoussou, désolé. Monsieur Amoussou, nous sommes racisés et on sait que
we are racialized, and we see that these communities sometimes have challenges that others don't have. Accents, recognition of credentials, education history, etc. And this phenomenon exists across the country, not just in one province.
Is that something you've seen in your practice?
Absolutely, we have to recognize this fact. We are not always faced with the same circumstances, and when you are an immigrant, everything becomes harder because you're immigrants, because you're a new generation here, and it takes 10 years for a newcomer to catch up to the level of someone born in Canada. So as soon as you step foot here, you have 10 years of catching up to do, regardless of your education level. And the integration process could maybe help to drop that from 10 to 5 years, but it's still a big challenge. So someone born in Canada compared to someone born in Algeria or in Benin, they come here, they have the same education, they have the same diploma, let's say, and they are facing a 10-year gap. And yes, we want to achieve economic success, but there's also the human aspect to this. So what we are doing is to facilitate the procedure so that these people get to the point faster where they can contribute to Canada's economic progress. It's not just a question of picking one path and then leading to a certain salary level, and it doesn't project the right image for our country.
Salaried employee, regardless of income, they're still paying taxes. I'd like to go to Mr. Oldman and just very briefly ask, very simple, because I have other questions to ask you, or another question. Do you agree with what you just heard in terms of the testimony that was given?
Well, I think there's been some really interesting debate, and I think it illustrates the fact that a bigger conversation about immigration is required. I mean, I do think that there are some complicated issues here. I think that there are some limitations to an approach to economic migration that is simply based on maximizing earnings. If I think here in British Columbia, and I think across the country about our healthcare system, a quarter of healthcare workers across the country, I believe, are foreign trained or born overseas. And when you think about the average per capita revenue salary of Canadians, and then you think about care aid workers and home support workers, and the shortage that we have in those groups, then raising those wages is not a practical solution. And raising wages is not a practical solution to demographics and population projections. You can offer to pay people as much as you want, but if the population is declining, the working population is declining, then we have a demographic problem. So I appreciate the economic arguments and the theories that the professor is putting forward, and I think they have a place, but I don't think it's not the entire equation.